With me today is Alieu Jallow, Entrepreneurship and Innovation Specialist at the City of Mississauga, where he helps foster a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship among the city's residents and businesses. Alieu, welcome to Say Hi to the Future.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure joining you today.
Well, first, this is a little bit of a hometown conversation for those listeners, especially in different countries that may not know Mississauga. It is a thriving city adjacent to Toronto. And as we like to say, it actually is where the Toronto International Airport is situated. So if you've been by Toronto, you have been by Mississauga, and I was proud to be I'm proud to be a past chair of its board of trade. So again, welcome, and let's start talking about you a little bit.
Awesome. No, thank you.
So I like to start with a little background. And it's interesting because you are here in Toronto now, but you come to us, I believe, via Gambia.
Yes, I was born and brought up in Gambia. Gambia is in West Africa, a small country surrounded by Senegal and a little bit on the Atlantic Ocean. We kind of encompass 360 almost by Senegal. We've been a British colony as well, like we English speaking country as well. So it's yeah, that's where I'm from, and it's really beautiful country to be in. We have beautiful beaches around, so Gambia it's really a nice place. It's home.
So as you grew up there, and I know you did your first, I think your undergraduate degree
Yes.
there. Tell us a bit about it. Is it entrepreneurial? Is it larger businesses? What sort of makes the economy run there?
Yes. So growing up, I was in Gambia. Like I was born in one of the remotest part of the country. It's called in Keraro. It's a village, not just so far from the Senegalese border. So there's a little bit of Senegambian culture that I grew up having access to. But growing up in the village, we didn't have a lot of school systems. So I moved into another village to do my secondary education. But that gives me little bit more to doing well in school allowed me to get an opportunity to get a scholarship to the University of the Gambia. We did a bachelor's in economics and entrepreneurship there. That really gives me a lot of chance to work with a lot of entrepreneurs. There's a lot of Gambians are typically farmers as well, a little bit traders. There's a lot of entrepreneurial activities going on in the country. When you look at the innovation ecosystem, there's a lot of small businesses coming up, especially with the advent of the University of the Gambia. It really started prouding a lot of innovation aspect of it. Whilst before the university, there's a lot of traders like business buying and selling, cross-border trade happening, especially within the Senegambian region as well. And mostly also there's a lot of women, traders. It's a busy market. If you go to the Senegambian market, it's a busy women trying to sell almost anything that you might need. So basically, it's really good economic culture, but economically, we've been mostly depending on agriculture in the past. Now, the service sector and tourism has been one of those key economic drivers as well.
What pulled you away from there? Because I see that you did your master's degree in management, innovation, and entrepreneurship from Queen's University, which is one of Canada's leading business schools for sure. So, what was a trip from Gambia to Canada? Why did that happen?
Yes, I was in Gambia. I was running a business incubation there, supporting entrepreneurs, mostly starting up with launching the Gambia's first business incubation center, so the startup incubator Gambia. So we supported entrepreneurs, really helping them start and scale their businesses in that process. I think about 2017 or so, I did apply to Queens and I got an admission, but then I was having a lot of projects, busy working on some of those projects. And I decided that, okay, I'm going to put a pause to it and then come back later. But my wife then moved into to Canada. And then I came here for a visit, I think once, and I loved it. The Toronto also was really good. And then I went back and COVID happened. So the lockdown happened and my wife came back to Africa for some time. And then once she moved over, we were expecting our daughter. And then I was like, okay, now it's time for me to move back and come to Canada. But then decided to do my master's as well. So raising a daughter and moving to a new country and leaving everything you've believed in, like you've been working on, and coming over. Took a little bit of adapting to do, but I did my master's at Queen's Innovation Entrepreneurship. It was really great experience because I got to build a lot of relationship and partnership with fellow students, and the program was very practical as well. So I really enjoyed it.
You mentioned a little bit about, your work in Gambia with entrepreneurship and with startup culture. I think that's you're being a little modest. I mean, from what I see, you were the founder and CEO at Incubator Gambia, and you received the Mandela Washington Fellow, which is recognizing you for outstanding contribution to the entrepreneurship ecosystem. So tell us a little bit more about that incubator in Gambia, and does it still go on?
Yes. Yeah, interesting. It's still running. Yes, in 2015, to be specific, I got a $150,000 from the US State Department and launched the first business incubator. But during that time, I got a chance to be sent to Kellogg School of Management. So I went to the Northwestern University for entrepreneurship and innovation training. During that time, it gave me a lot of opportunity to learn the ropes, and I was actually put in the 1871 incubation hub as well as the garage at Northwestern. So these were all internal university incubator, and then the other model they had was the 1871, which was privately run as well. So these gave me a lot of insight as to how I can really build back the incubator back in Africa. So when I went back to Africa, it really helped me put the team together. So I already had a team of mentors and colleagues that I put together, and we started working on supporting entrepreneurs in the country. It was really not that easy. It was a bit challenging in terms of launching it, bringing all the different stakeholders. It was a new concept, talking to people about what the incubator was, what we were trying to do. But one of the good things we did was we got really incredible founders that came through that program that really did very extremely well. We had designers that became a Nike fashion designer as well. We had one of the tech developers currently is one of the second to largest leading tech developer companies, software companies in the country that came through our program. We even had poultry farmers being part of our different cohorts, our agribusiness cohort, and he is currently the largest poultry farmer in the country as well. So these programs, and we just showed where if young people have opportunities and access to the resources and guidance that is needed, what they can do. And this was not done only by me, but also done by a considerable effort of mentors. I had a mentor called William who was really very helpful in really guiding me through that leadership journey as well. We did had a lot of entrepreneurs from successful entrepreneurs within the country that were volunteering very generous with their time to coach and support these entrepreneurs in the programs as well. Until today, I think the last time by the time I left, we supported almost 1,500 businesses. I think now it's almost 2,000 entrepreneurs that were supported to date. And I think 3 days ago, they just helped work with SOS to launch an accelerator for green incubation for technical training institutions for the TVET and technical spaces as well. So the team has been doing incredibly well back home. I'm no longer directly involved with them, so they're running the show now permanently here with my team. Yeah.
Well, congratulations again, though. I mean, I can't imagine what it would have been like to start an incubator, in an area where it wasn't such a well-known concept or an unknown
Yeah.
concept. And it
Yeah.
sounds like whatever you are teaching them has really paid off for the local area and the country. So kudos
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
But here we are now in Mississauga. What are you doing for the city?
Yes, so I'm the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Specialist for the city. So the City of Mississauga, we're part of the Economic Development Office of the team of the city. In the Economic Development Office, we do have the Invest Mississauga, and then we also have the Idea Mississauga. So the Invest Mississauga, it's the arm of the city that's responsible for the FDI, foreign direct investments. We do a lot of company support from that area in terms of supporting companies to the city and attracting and retaining those companies. So the goal of the Economic Development Office is to really help companies from starting their businesses all the way to scaling within the city. And this is from when you have an idea, then you come to Idea Mississauga, which also has the different programming we have. We have a beautiful space at the Square One Mall. It's called Idea Square One Entrepreneurship Hub. So it's a really beautiful space. We provide co-working services there as well. In addition to that, we do provide different programming in the city, in different programming in the space. So one of them is Startup Company Plus, for instance. This is a program that provides mentorship, training, coaching, and sometimes with a $5,000 grant for the companies that are part of the program. And then we have the summer companies. So during the summers, the students get around $3,000 to work on their ideas. They get the mentors, coaching, and all the support that is needed. In addition to that, we do have the Empower Her program as well. So that's a program that really looking at targeting women entrepreneurs in the space, and these women entrepreneurs that are scaling and looking from that are looking to scale as well. So they get a lot of the coaching, training, and mentorship program as part of the program as well. And one of the programs that I lead at the city is called the Step Up program. This is a scaling companies program that are looking to target in the life sciences, advanced manufacturing, and ITC. So the companies has to be between less than $2 million in operation in revenue and are looking to scale. So we provide a lot of C-suite executive training for them in terms of getting successful entrepreneurs that have gone through the journey and being successful and coming back and guiding these entrepreneurs on how to, transition from being a solopreneur to having a team that really helps move the company forward. So we do a lot of those sessions throughout the cohort. And then we also have a little bit of technical development piece that we partner with the Center for Intelligent Manufacturing to help with a little bit of the product development of the hardware components and the AI pieces that we are working with them. In addition to that, we do a lot of investor relations with them as well. So we do have a network of investors that we work closely with to support them, to introduce them to investors, allowing them to get pitch. I think a couple of weeks ago, we did have a investor reverse pitch where we got investors came in and pitched to the entrepreneurs and say, okay, this is how you should, this is what we look for when we are looking for investments. So that's basically what we do at the city. In addition to that, we do have what we call the business advisory services. So any city residents that have a business, from starting a business all the way to scaling companies, can come to the space or reach out to us through the Idea Mississauga and get one-on-one consultations with our team. And we have a team of consultants, including myself, within the city that will support these companies to access resources to help them with any strategy that they're looking for in terms of how they can scale. And the City of Mississauga is an ecosystem, especially with the Idea of Mississauga and Invest team. It's an ecosystem there where we work with different partners like the UTM, University of Mississauga, University of Toronto, Mississauga as well, the Sheridan College, they have an IQ, we have all these different programs, the Spin Up Lab. So they're different ecosystem. We work with the ecosystem partners in the space to do that. And then we also work with a lot of partners like KMB Technologies, Smart and Bigger. These are all different partners that we work together to support our entrepreneurs in these different programs.
So as you go through that description, I think what I really hear is you've built a holistic approach to supporting and
Yeah.
inspiring the entrepreneur. And I mean, I have been an entrepreneur for 30, 35 years. All of my businesses have been based in Mississauga, even though I've sold into the US, Australasia, Europe. I've always stayed
Yep.
here. And I will plug the business community and those who support it because I think there is that holistic approach of here's what you need if you're thinking about an idea as maybe a student. Here's what you need if you are bringing a new idea to market. Here's what you need if you're scaling or looking for funding. And I think that's really important. That and the tie into the universities, colleges, professional organizations. I just think it's so important because, firstly, when I started out, if there were any incubators, I didn't know about them.
Mhm.
I'm not even sure where Mars was actually on its
Yeah.
trajectory, but it was downtown in a very
Yeah.
specific field, and the same within Waterloo,
Yeah.
around Rim and Blackberry. So the notion that you've put together, or that the city has put together, alongside, hand in hand with the business community, I think it's I think great kudos to everybody. The the other thing I'll say is I really like, and I was not able to get there just to watch it, The reverse pitch, the
Yeah,
whole notion of VCs and or private equity coming in and explaining to young entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs, hopeful entrepreneurs, what they are looking for.
yeah.
Boy, that is a skill or an insight, a set of insights that we really never got firsthand.
Yeah.
So I love that idea. So maybe can you tell me a little bit more about that evening or that event, how it came about, what came out of it?
So part of the, as I mentioned earlier, part of the things that we do is the C-suite training sessions. So it's part of the step-up programming that we do, and we did organize the event in collaboration with our other colleagues and program teams as well. But what we did is really the idea was we wanted entrepreneurs to know the insights of how they can get investment, right? Because we do make a lot of introductions and entrepreneurs say, oh yeah, I haven't received here had back from the investor. They didn't think I'm a good fit. I'm too early, but like why? Like I'm not getting all those nuances as to
Hmm.
why I'm not getting through that fundraising cycle. And the reason why that's really important for them to hear from the investors is the fact that to understand what the investors are evaluating, what are they looking for, what are those signals that the investors are excited about once you pitch providing your pitch deck or investors. Okay, have you got
Hmm.
any tractions? Have you get your team together? What is the what is your growth rate? Like how fast is the company growing, and what potential do they have, right? And investors are not like really charitable individuals and are giving out their money for free. They're expecting a return, and they want to see that the business is viable enough to provide them the return within the time frame that they want to see their investment returns. And it was really exciting to see that entrepreneurs really having that behind the scenes scoop of what do we look for and how do you put it together. And we brought in all different partners. We brought in partners from RBCX, we brought in partners from TDIP partners, we brought in partners from the BDC, we brought in investors as well from Angel One Investment Group as well. So these are all that we brought in angel investors, we brought in VC, we had Graphite Ventures as well. So we had VCs, we had angels, we even have bankers who does these financial processes in that investor reverse pitch, showing and unveiling what they look for when they're looking for investment, when they're evaluating those investments, when they're making those decisions as to which investor is the right fit for them. It's aligning with their investment theses and any strategies in terms of how to build that relationships with investors as well.
So what do you think? What were sort of the one or two things that the investors might be looking at to evaluate opportunities?
Yeah. So one of the things that the investors are really looking at is first they want to see that it's in fit within their investment thesis. Like some VCs are investing basically in biotechnology companies or life science companies, but they don't invest in SaaS companies or AI company related companies or any other companies. So they're really looking at to make sure there's a fit between their investment thesis as well as what the founder is looking at. So if I'm approaching an investor who is only investing in bio companies, let's say he's investing in life science companies, but I am an AI company that has nothing to do with life sciences, in that case, I'm not a good fit, even though if they might like what I'm doing or the product I'm doing and so the traction that is happening as well. So that's one piece. And the other things that some of the key insights that we got as well is really understanding what are those like indicators in terms of your growth indicators, right? How fast are you growing in terms of your traction, right? How much money have sales have you made so far? How fast is those sales growing? Like who do you have on your team? So these are all critical indicators and pointers that the investors are looking at before making those next move to say, okay, this is a good fit. Let's have these conversations, and then you can go back and pitch as well. And one of the key pieces that came out as well was the relationship building, right? Like it's a relationship that you're building with the investors. So it's not when you need the money, but really start planning. If I have a six months runway or a 1 year runway or 12 months or 18 months runway, I should start planning for that 6 months or 18 months before I run out of money. Don't wait until the money runs out and then you're going after the investors. Then you sound desperate and not organized enough to make the right type of deals that are relevant for you as well.
Very good. That's pretty sage advice, and I think yes, the alignment, the understanding of growth, and Ah, boy, it's hard not to be desperate because most people are desperately seeking dollars. But yes, to go in with the confidence and to try and hit a running rate in your business that you can actually sustain. And it's funny, a lot of people that I know that have built entrepreneurial ventures, I never went private equity or VC route. It was always just sort of accumulated growth, if you will, accumulated reinvestment. But try your best to try and get some kind of sustainable center or core to your business.
Hmm.
Because that to me is something that growth becomes more controllable to leverage from, and that whole anxiety level or desperation level
Yeah,
sort of subsides a bit. And it's easier said than done, but
yeah,
it is a little bit of a different mindset, I
yeah,
feel, going in than that typical burn rate mindset. And
yeah,
burn rate's not a real thing.
yeah,
It's not a real financial thing. So, um, anyway, Alieu,
yeah.
back onto the back on track here.
Yeah.
Tell us about the youth advisory group.
Yeah. So back in Africa, I was like I remember I said earlier in terms of all the projects and programs I was running with the incubator back in Africa, and I was then because of all these projects we were running, we did some projects back in Europe as well. I was now selected. I think we were about a group of 6 to 16 people with the World Bank group to be part of the youth advisory group. I think, and in that group, one of my role was to really advise the World Bank group in terms of some projects initiatives, right? Like, so we got invited into some of the papers that they were writing about projects to provide those on the ground insights in terms of what is applicable when it comes to the African continent. How can you be maybe able to invest in the continent? Because a lot of the problems we used to have then was the implementation of these projects, right? Like, because projects are built in DC, there's no direct inflow of insight as to what is actually the realities on the ground. And that what end up happening is there's no that inside scoop to really build those capacity as well. So one of the things what we used to get invited a lot was to really be part of those thought leadership and provide those insights in terms of what are the projects that have worked. So people like myself, couple of projects on the continent and were really successful in a in a sense, in a project sense, because it was supposed to be a 1 year project, but it's sustainable and still running. So they wanted to see what are the foundation that needs to be built when World Bank projects are going into the continent. How do they incorporate some of those feedbacks into their project planning, and instead of just giving the governments the money, but really making sure that there's that institutional sustainability as well, that capacity building for the local entrepreneurs and local organizations to be sustainable beyond the project life cycles. That has been a challenge in a lot of the developing countries, and they wanted to see some insights on them. So I was part of that youth advisory group to really provide the voices for young people in the continent and also provide insights in terms of the different projects that I implemented. I Part of that project, I was able to invited to the World Bank Spring Meeting a couple of times to go speak in terms of the initiative we've run in Gambia and some of the lessons learned from those projects and how they can implement it
Hmm.
in new projects that's been implemented in the sub-Saharan Africa.
Wow. So,
Yeah,
Alieu Jallow, it's been an absolute pleasure. The time goes so quickly when we sit down to talk here. But
yeah,
you know, you're being raised in Gambia, becoming, helping to empower and inspire and start the first major incubator there, making your way to Canada, to Queen's University, to your master's, and now in Mississauga. I am so happy that your travels and your awards and your recognitions and successes have found its way to us here in Mississauga. And thank you again for being on Say Hi to the Future this morning.
all right. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure getting to know you.